All right. Hey, PPL Army soldiers. It's Stephanie Franklin here. We have a great webinar for you guys tonight. It's regarding calling and closing prospects. This is some of the biggest fear that most people have is actually talking to prospects and then even their partners. So don't let it hold you back. I did not start out as a salesperson or an expert in any way, so I stumbled my way through everything and failed forward over and over and over again. So I'm just going to share some of the things that helped me along the way, and hopefully they can help you guys, take action, grow your business, and get those next partners lined up. So, all right, let's do this. Let's get started. So some of the main points that I'm going to cover is how to overcome objections. So how many people, before they even pick up the phone, how many people have all these objections or things in their head that are holding them back? Like, what if they ask this? What should I say to this? So many things. So many questions, pop in your head, and it's always really funny to me that your fear is always bigger than what actually happens. Fear of what could happen is always bigger than what actually happens. I've only had a few people that I've called be rude to me out of hundreds, and even sending out emails, only a few people have been, kind of rude or pretty rude to me, but that just means that you're making some waves, and that's always a good thing. So we're going to cover how to overcome the objections, and I have some of the main ones that you're going to face over and over again, and then also negotiating the best terms. So there's been a lot of questions in the group about what are the best terms for your PPL business. So should you be paying should your partner be paying per lead, per closed deal, for a percentage of a job that you send their way? So we're going to go through that. And then also, should you use a contract? Always a hot topic. So we're definitely going to be covering all of those points. And then also, what are some of the main sales points that you need to cover on your call to really get their interest and pique their interest, get their attention, make you stand out, make you different than the last salesperson that called them on the phone. That's always a big, big deal. Yeah, Jeremiah, prepay. Hell yeah. That's the best way. I love it. So all the important points you must cover when you are on the phone with a prospect, and, just how to stand out, make you different from, say, Home Advisor, which is so easy to do. So then also I want to cover kind of how to position your leads and the value of your leads. They're exclusive. They're to your partner only. There's no competition. They're high quality. Usually they're very specific to your partner's business. They should be. So how do you position the value of that and the lifetime value of your leads? And then how do you let that determine the price of the leads for your partner? So those are always really big questions, and I hope that I can answer some questions for you, or even just create a conversation about these points in the group. I think that it's always great. There's so many smart, intelligent people working their asses off in the group, and it's always great to hear, people share their experiences and what worked for them, what didn't work for them. So these webinars are always to start a conversation, as well as remove any doubts in your mind that you can do this. Last but not least, how do you get rid of the fear? So I did a few things to help me get rid of the fear of cold calling, or doing follow-up calls, even answering inbound calls. I was scared to death to even do that, because what if I screw up? Oh my God, world's gonna end, right? So, all right, let's get to it. So how to overcome objections. And you guys, I want your input on this, because I know most of you on the call I know very well, and I know that a lot of you guys have taken tons of action, and anything you want to share in the chat box, I would love to see, or any feedback. So when I first start getting inbound calls from prospects, when I send out the emails, I go through my whole process of email prospecting, and when they are inbound calls, they're warm leads. They're interested in what you have to sell, what you have to say. They just want to know more information. So this is a great way to start the conversation. They want more information. And so I was introduced myself, and then, I asked what their experience has been with paid leads. Kind of drive the conversation, to dog on any lead provider that they've had before. They're going to give you all their pain points, and this is a great question. It will lead to all the pain points that they have from previous leads, and our PPL business model solves almost every single one of those pain points. So usually they come out and they say, I had to compete against 3 other contractors for my lead. It was a bad lead and I was still charged for it. It was not qualified. The company I was working with wasn't transparent. Or they were under contract and they had to pay a certain amount to get out of their contract. So there's a whole bunch of pain points that are going to come up, and they're all very valid, and it's going to repeat over and over and over again the more people that you talk to. So use those pain points to your advantage, and explain how PPL is completely different, and how we're trying to rebuild the pay-per-lead world. And I don't know if we can put Home Advisor out of business, but I would love to do that. So anyways, definitely lead with questions. Be authentic when reaching out to prospects. Be yourself. Don't read from a script. Please don't read from a script. You can have your points sitting next to you. That's totally great, just to refer to. But after your 5th or 6th call, you'll get it down. You don't need to read from a script at all. I think that is a major hang-up people have, is trying to be perfect or trying to not be themselves. Make mistakes. Also cuss a little bit. Sometimes when I'm talking to these contractors, say bullshit, or call them on their bullshit, cuss once in a while for them. They love it, and they realize that you're a real person too. I've been on the phone with an inbound call and even a follow-up calls for 45 minutes or even longer, just hearing about their life, how they built their business, if it's a family business. Ask them about how they started their business. Ask them questions. Really, really get to know them, and it's amazing. You'll make a best friend. I promise. Some of the conversations I've had have just been really crazy, and I've recorded a few of them this week. I didn't have too many crazy ones, so I'm hoping to hit the gold tomorrow and just get one of those crazy, funny ones that the guy just tells you way too much information about his life and everything, and then ends up being a partner, but also contacts you and updates you on his son's football game or something like that. It's really funny, really funny. So definitely when you start getting objections, it probably means that you didn't position yourself well at the very beginning of the phone call. So I always kind of, ask them questions, be authentic, get to know them, and then they're just going to ask you, how much is it? What is it? How much is it? How does it work? Very common questions and very easy to answer. Some of the most common ones that come up are, we just don't have the budget, or your leads are too expensive. And that's when you need to also position yourself in the value of the leads that you're providing. So not only, covering they're exclusive to them, they're focused in their service area, they're qualified leads, you listen to all the leads, or you have certain qualifiers to make sure that it's a good lead that you're sending them. But you also need to, preface that the lifetime value of a lead, and then how much they will actually profit from a lead. Ask how much they're already spending to get jobs, or to get, say, a roofing job, or a HVAC or water heater installation, something like that. But also be sensitive that, everything that their whole price of their job is not their profit. They have lots of expenses as well. So a really good company should know how much it costs them to generate a job. So always look for those companies that know their numbers right off the bat, especially when you're talking to the decision maker. They should know those numbers right off the top of their head. They should know that they need at least 3 to 5 leads, sometimes 7 leads, depending on their sales team, to actually get that closed job. And then they should know their margins, all that stuff. So when you start talking to a business owner that knows that stuff, your leads are absolutely not going to be too expensive. So And there's a lot of companies that know their numbers. There's a lot that don't, though. So that's one of my qualifiers for a partner is they have to know their numbers. And if they don't, I really don't want to work with them because I'm going to have to justify the price of my leads constantly to them because they don't know really what their margins are. And they just see you as an expense, just like kind of a, some kind of subscription payment or something like that. So, all right. So after the budget objection, you also have the authority one, and I've had this happen so many times, and it's because I'm not talking to the right person. So I need to consult with X. I need to consult with my wife, my business partner, my director, my sales manager. And that just means that you're not talking to the right person. So you need to get in contact with the correct person. If you say, oh, okay, yeah, well, when are they around? I'll call back. Usually you're never going to get a hold of them. So it's, or you try to schedule a meeting time with them, they're probably just going to blow you off. I try to get the decision maker on the phone right then and there if they're around, and kind of guilt the person that you're speaking with, and say, hey, it'd be on you if your business manager, owner, or sales manager misses this opportunity. What if they find out about this if I get a hold of them after this? If you hang up on me, or kind of guilt them and put a little pressure on them. Usually they'll either give you the phone number or give you their direct email or something like that. So definitely put a little bit of pressure on people. It's totally fine because no one wants to be caught, not forwarding on a possible opportunity. They do not want to be responsible for that because it's a definite failure on their part. So who's totally ran into this question? The authority, I need to consult with X. I'm sure there's been tons of people. Yep. Yeah, lots of people. And usually, yeah, it's just, lots. How do you guys get around it? I mean, there's tons of ways to get around it, and it just means you either need to do more research to get a hold of the right person, which is pretty easy to do nowadays with LinkedIn and the Secretary of State business registration. Like you can go look up those references. Yeah, ask for conference call or direct contact info. Perfect. Exactly. Yeah, don't let this be a deterrence to you. Like if they say, oh, we need to talk with X, do not get persuaded to think that the deal is closed, especially if it's a company you really want to work with. If it's a larger company, you're going to go through a few people to get to the right person. And I definitely prefer to work with the larger guys that can take all of my leads, and they probably have a bigger service area. But I did start out, I still have a lot of, the smaller companies where it's mom and pop or, contractor with a small crew or small team, and they're more likely than not to say, I need to consult with X. But yeah, definitely, that's an objection you're going to come across, but please, please, please don't give up if you get it. Like, just keep doing your research or ask for their direct contact information. Yeah, franchises usually have those. Exactly. So, okay, the third one that you're going to run into a lot is the need. They don't see the need for your service or for your leads. So they say, hey, I'm happy with my current setup. Are you really, or are you just afraid to make a change? So a lot of people are just very afraid to change anything, and you have to kind of prove to them that, it's worth it. But also, if they're not hungry, if they're not a hungry company, I don't really want to work with them. So this is also kind of a disqualifier. I'm not going to push them too hard to have to, really, really work and prove that pay-per lead is an amazing thing for everyone involved. I shouldn't have to, go out of my way to prove that to them. So if they say I'm happy with my current setup, always ask about, hey, so what are you doing then? Oh, I just do referral business from my past clients. Okay, not interested. And then I just say, good luck, next. I'm not going to work with you. If they, have a marketing budget, if they say that they, do AdWords, if they say they do pay for SEO or any kind of, Yelp ads or Yellow Page ads. Oh my gosh. If they have a marketing budget, I'm super interested then in maybe pushing it a little bit harder and seeing what the real hang up is, if I'm speaking to the right person that can make a decision. But usually it just has, fear of change all over it. And a lot of times you have to do I've jumped through hoops with people that said I'm happy with my current setup, like doing case studies. I put together white papers. I've done so many different things, and it's kind of a natural reaction. So sometimes it's just a total natural response when you first start talking to somebody, just because they don't want to be on the phone. They're so busy. They have so much to do. So they're just like, get you off the phone. But that's when you just need to, ask what their past experience has been, and, kind of poke them a little bit, like say, well, how's Yellow Pages doing for you? How's Yelp doing for you? How many leads have you actually generated, or how much business have you actually generated? And start that conversation with them. It's definitely, just don't let them get off the phone. That's pretty much what it is. Keep asking them questions, and get them to talk about themselves. Be authentic when you're talking to them. But yeah, if they say I'm happy with my current setup, either they're not motivated enough, or they're just trying to get you off the phone because they're busy. So you have to push a little bit, but if you really get the feeling that they're afraid to try something new or different, or even switch their providers, then maybe they're not the right people or right company for you to start working with. And then the last two are really interesting. So we're too busy right now. So that immediately in my mind triggers, okay, maybe you're not big enough company for me to work with. I don't want you to neglect my leads that I'm spending so much, time, money, effort to generate for, my partner. So this is also kind of a disqualifier. No business should really say we're too busy right now unless they don't want to grow. I want to work with business owners that are incredibly motivated and want to grow their company, because, it's good for me, it's good for them, everyone wins. So if I get this response, we're too busy right now, it's a really interesting one. And it's also kind of an excuse. If they say, contact me in a few months when we have a budget, or, it happens a lot. Happens a lot around probably busy seasons. So say like roofing season's coming up. A lot of the home service seasons are coming up. And, it's one that I kind of ignore. If they say that, then it's kind of just a red flag that, okay, this is not the company or partner that I want to be working for. I just let them know that they're missing a great opportunity, and I'm going to be calling XYZ next. Are you sure you don't want to discuss this further? And sometimes that snaps them out of kind of their immediate response, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they really are too busy. So that's why you really need to kind of, when you get to the point where you're generating a lot of leads, you really need to start qualifying your partners a lot more. So has anyone had this objection? We're too busy right now. I've got it a lot in the beginning. When you start kind of qualifying the leads that you're contacting and stuff, you'll get it a lot less. Most companies want to grow and they want the business and they're hungry. But yeah, it's kind of a common one. Yeah, especially in high competition areas. Yeah, that's a really good point too. Yep, Ron, David, yep. Yeah, Ron, you're too busy to make more money. What's wrong with you? Isn't that the truth? Oh, that's so funny. I like that. I'm going to use that next. That's great. You're too busy to make more money. I love it. I love it. I bet it works a lot. Snaps them right out of their stupor, I'm sure. And, maybe it's a bad time to call them, and you need to find a better time to call back if they're interested still. But usually I just let them go. If it's someone you really, really want to work with, and, you think that would be a good fit for you, or then maybe follow up with them in a week or two and just see where they're at. Maybe they have some more time to talk to you. Just depends. So, and last but not least, the most boring one of all, I need to think about it. Oh, I need to think about it. So you go through your whole spiel, tell them all the amazing things and, about PPL, and then you get to the end and they ask you some questions and go through everything. And then at the end they just say, I need to think about it. Um, it's totally a combination of a few things. So it's a combination of, their budget, authority, need, and timeliness. It's a combination of everything. It means that when you were describing your PPL to them, your service to them, you didn't set the value high enough on it. The customer does not see the value. Maybe they don't trust you, or maybe you were not clear enough in your offering. And so it's really, really important to make sure you hit on, the main points of PPL and why it can help their business and how it can help their business. Use examples when you're talking to them. Say, hey, I was working with this roofer in, say, Naperville, Chicago, or as close to Chicago, and maybe I'm prospecting in Chicago, and talk about how great their experience was, how many leads you drove to them last year. Just use examples. People love to hear examples, and it's kind of social proof that it worked for someone else, and you do work with other people if you give examples like that. And it's a trust builder, so it's really, really important. But I need to think about it is just that you really didn't set out the value of your proposition very clear. But you can also, if they do say that, say, okay, well, you could set a timeline. Don't just let them off the phone with this one either. So, go back over some of the specific features. Maybe I hope that you had a conversation with them and you found out some of their, their hot buttons or their points that really, could make them make the right decision, or, anything that they said that really bothers them with how their lead generation is going. You should have quite a few buttons to push, and take notes when you're on the phone. Just write them down so you don't forget. And then circle back to them and say, oh, okay, so you still want to get leads from Home Advisor and compete with other roofing companies, and you're happy with that. Like, you really want to keep doing that. You don't want exclusive leads sent directly to you, like real-time hot leads. And as long as you circle back to their hot buttons, then you can definitely prove the value of what you're doing. So I don't do guarantees or free, any free like 5 free leads or 10 free leads or a week of free lead. I don't do any of that to prove it, because once you start giving away for free, they really don't value it anyways. And if you didn't build or demonstrate the value enough already for them just to try it out, for, I don't know, I don't use a contract, so they can try it out for a month, and if it doesn't work for them, okay, take off. Like, I'll find someone else to work with. So that's always that's kind of how I approach those. So what do you guys think? Has everyone, I'm sure everyone's heard at least one of these or 2 of these. What do you say, Ron? Ron says, when they're too busy, I say, let me get you back to your stuff and I'll email you some more info. Follow up with them in an email and just tell them you're only paying for the initial lead. Yeah, that's not hard. So it was hard to hear, I'm too busy. Yeah, I know, right? It's just a qualifier. Like, these are also big red flags. If you kind of run it into these and if one of them is a really big sticking point, then I would just kind of back away and go on to the next one. So, all right. So negotiating the best terms. This is also a really hot topic. Oh, let's circle back. All right, circling back. Ron says, I've been getting a lot of, how about a percentage of a closed deal? No. That's just letting them bully you. I know, I've heard that a ton of times. I've even tried it. Totally tried it. I've tried booked, or, if they schedule, they only want to pay for scheduled appointments or scheduled, I can't think of the word, like inspections or something like that. So no, don't do it. It's just them. They just want to see what they can get. They want to see, if they can push you around a little bit, if they can have the last say in what they want, and you don't get anything that you want. That's giving them complete control of the deal. So, and a lot of them just want to see if they can get away with it. So push back. Make sure you push back to say, that's not how it works. And, reiterate why it is such a good deal. And really, everything that you're doing and everything that you're offering them, they're still winning. They're still winning the deal. So, yeah, you're going to hear that a lot, especially in the home service business. That is a very common go-to thing, but you will probably lose out every time unless it's a partner that you've had for a long time and you trust them and, they've treated you very well in the past. So it's really hard to let them get away with just a percentage of the deal. I hope that answers your question, Ron. Does that help? I know it's intimidating at first. It's really intimidating when they're like, oh, I just want a percentage. And you can just send me all the leads and I'm not going to show you anything. So don't let them get away with that. They need structure also. So make sure you give it to them. Hey, David, let's see. Do I have a go-to email when they say send me some info and follow up with me? I sure do. I will share that with you guys. Yep, I have a follow-up email, and just kind of reiterates the main points of what PPL is, and then I put a time limit in the email, and I say if I don't hear back from you within 24 hours, I am moving on to these businesses in your area. So it definitely has the scarcity tactic in it, and it has worked, definitely. Sometimes people are genuinely too busy and they're interested, but and then if you don't hear back from them, follow up a few times. But usually that scarcity tactic works pretty good, because if you're a competing company in the same area for the same vertical, wouldn't you just hate it if you sent business to your competitor? Like a lot of my companies would absolutely hate that. They would rather die than that. Yeah, awesome. Any other questions, guys? All right, moving on. Those are awesome questions. I like it. Very good. All right, negotiating best terms. So how do you structure your deals? So this question comes up a lot in the group. How do you structure the deal? Should you use a contract? And then also, how do you qualify a lead with your partner? So should you use a contract? I started out using contracts in the beginning. I don't anymore. So the reason is it slows the closing process down. It's just one more thing for people to get back to you, one more thing for them to do. I do send kind of a follow-up email with the credit card authorization form in it or attached to it, because I need to receive that back before I send them anything. But I just reiterate kind of the points that we spoke about and our agreements in the email, and ask them if they have any other questions and if I missed anything. But this is what we spoke about. This is what we agreed on. Fill out the attached CC form and then send it back to me. So I know contracts. Actually, some bigger companies really do like contracts and they need them for their budget and to get approved for a budget and everything. So sometimes you will need a contract for a bigger company. But for the small, medium-sized companies, it really shouldn't be a problem. And then, what do you guys think? Who uses a contract? Have you guys tried to use a contract at all? What's been your response rate? I had a lot of people that just kind of went dark, like ghosted me after that. They're like, oh, yeah, I'd love to work with you, love it. And then I wouldn't get the contract back, and I wouldn't hear back from them again. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I agree, Jeremiah, totally. I did, but it just slowed the process down so much. Hey, Fernando, what's up? Happy to have you on here. Fernando asks, what about a contract that talks about the fact that you own the assets? Nope. I tell them straight up, like, I own all of it. You're not renting it from me even. I'm just sending you the leads with a phone number, tracking phone number, and that's it. You have no access to my sites. I don't even tell them the site names. I don't tell them the domain names, nothing like that. Don't do that at all, because then they can come at you, you know, they can try to they can threaten you. They can try to do some crazy things. So don't even tell them how you're driving the leads. It's none of their business. I know they're going to ask. Just say, oh, paid advertising and, whatever. I don't even say Google Maps, because then they'll say, well, how can you do that? You're not a real company. Then some of them will be damn determined to find your Google map listing and report it to Google. So don't do that either. All right, never use a contract. Easier to close without. I agree, Ron. More of agreement. Yeah. Call if you really want to. Just call it agreement. That's what my email is, and I mean, really, I'm not going to take them to court over something. So I don't want them to feel, yeah. Fernando, I have them help with the GMB verification. No, I misspoke. They do not help with my Google Map verifications at all. I own those as well. Those are my assets. So, but a lot of times they're going to ask, hey, where are you driving your leads from? How is this, how are you getting the phone calls? Because, I mean, it's a normal question. It makes sense a lot. So just say paid advertising. That's all they need to know. And even if it's not true, because I've made the mistake of telling a company I was driving, leads through Google Maps, and they went crazy and thought that, I was scamming them, and how could I do that? So just learn from that experience. David, don't they ask the lead where they found out about them? Yeah, a lot of times they do. They really do. And, sometimes it's Craigslist, and sometimes if it's on Google, they'll say, oh, Google, or, oh, your websites, or most of the leads that come in are not going to be very specific at all. They're not digital marketers. They don't understand what is going on, that they landed on a lead site. Do they say the website name? Oh, they could say the website name. Do you think that the inbound lead person that's taking the inbound leads they hardly record that stuff anyways? I really wouldn't be. What if they don't agree with the source? Jeremiah, what if they don't agree with the source? Oh, like Craigslist? Like, what if they don't agree with Craigslist leads? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah, what if they don't agree with Craigslist leads? I mean, a lot of people, a lot of partners that I've spoken with, they think Craigslist is garbage. Yeah, exactly. So, if they do get Craigslist leads, and then they will call you sometimes and be like, hey, I got this lead from Craigslist, and sometimes, a lot of times it turns into a job for them, and they're still kind of irritated they got a lead from Craigslist, or there's there's a lot of price shopping leads on Craigslist too, but if it's really that big of a deal, I just tell them, if they're price shopping too hard or whatever, we can review the leads and see what to do about it. But if after they get a few deals on Craigslist, like, they're not going to have a hard time taking those calls, and like, what is it really hurting them? If it skews their numbers a lot, then probably something's wrong with my ads, because I definitely want to keep their lead conversion rate, at least 1 to 5, 1 to 7. Like, I want to keep it in a normal range. So if it's getting blown out by Craigslist leads or crappy Craigslist leads or something like that, then yeah, definitely I'll review that and say it took them 10 Craigslist leads to get a job. Maybe I'll give them 3 free leads to keep them in that kind of range of qualified stuff. But yeah, I've totally had people been like, not want Craigslist leads, but I don't care. I'm still going to drive Craigslist leads to them. It doesn't. I'm just going to maybe credit them if there's a lot of crappy ones. But also, a lot of times they don't remember to ask where they came from unless they have like a trained sales staff or a trained inbound sales team, something like that. But yeah, Jeremiah, I know you've run into that before. How did you deal with it? I know we've talked about this before. Um, Ron tells him, I market on a bunch of networks such as social, Google AdWords, Facebook paid. Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, you can name a whole bunch of everything, all, all of the possible digital marketing um, options, and they're just going to be like, okay, wow, that's cool, because they have no idea what you're talking about half of the time. 90% of the time, they have no idea. So it just sounds like a lot of work, and they're like, okay, sweet, you're going to do all that for me? Amazing. Um, Fernando, Fernando asks, what do you say if they can only pay via check? I won't work with them. Nope. Not unless I can drive to their business or their house and get their check from them. Don't do it. Yeah, Jeremiah, yeah. We've had clients get 50K jobs from CL. Yeah, absolutely. I had a kitchen remodel client get, I think it was $40,000 kitchen remodel from Craigslist within the first week of having the ads up. So, and he was one of the ones that didn't want Craigslist ads. So, absolutely, it's real. Like, okay, so they pay for a few extra leads, but there's some very good leads on Craigslist, which still blows my mind, but there is. Um, and oh, commercial too. Awesome, man. Hell yeah. See, that's just so crazy to me. Why would business be looking on Craigslist for commercial? I don't. That's just crazy. But yeah, I know it works. It really does. I'm always surprised by the leads that come through there. Um, Fernando, do you typically charge different amounts depending on what type of job the caller is looking for? Well, it depends what if it's a repair or an install, and that's specific to different verticals. So, like repairs are usually a lot cheaper, but they can always lead into more work. So I have a hard time discounting any repair work like roof repair or HVAC repair, just because it could turn into more work. And they have a new customer. They just got a new customer from you, and just because it's one repair job. And if they do a good job and they, have some kind of sales cycle that they follow up with people or remarket to them, which a lot of them don't, but they should understand that they just got a really cheap new customer from a repair job. So I have a really hard time discounting repairs versus installs because it could definitely lead to an install down the road or more work down the road. And that's definitely how you need to position it. All right, let's see. So what's a qualified lead? This is also a really big question that comes up. So do you qualify it based on time of a phone call? Is it over 30 seconds? Is that a qualified lead? If they ask about the price immediately and you can tell that it's a shopping lead and they're shopping around really hard and they're, ask for a bunch of information and the price, and what if they don't schedule an estimate or inspection, something like that? Is that a qualified lead? So, and then what if it's a spam call from like Yellow Pages or something weird, which happens? But qualified lead, to me, and this is my opinion, and this is what has been working. Any call that comes in that asks about their service is genuine, is interested, and you can tell the difference between a good call and a bad call. Someone is looking for their service, usually has a time frame of when they want the service done, and then that's it. That's my job is done. I sent them a qualified lead in my head. They asked about their service. They had a conversation with them, and then it's on the business to actually do their job and sell the person and have that conversation with them and lead them down the road to an estimate or lead them down the road to an actual inspection that will lead to the job. So that's why it's so important to know your partner's sales funnel, and if they do have a qualified person answering the phone that can answer their questions in in an educated manner that's actually nice to people calling in. I've fired partners because they had terrible people answering the phone that were so rude to people. It blew my mind. And I've had partners fire people because of how they answered the phone, or train them, maybe train them better. That's always my first suggestion. Maybe this person needs more training how to answer the phones correctly. Is this how you want them talking to your prospects? No, usually not. Um, yeah. Okay, Jeremiah says, qualified lead is for us getting customers' info and interests on a location estimate. Perfect. That's great. Yep, absolutely. That's a very real lead. And that should be the very first questions that the person answering the phone asks them. The very first questions. What are you interested in? Where are you located? Because they don't want to have a conversation with someone that's outside of their service area and waste time talking to somebody that, is 100 miles away that they cannot go out and service. So yes, definitely. Those are always the first two questions. Get their name, phone number, address, what they're interested in. And then the conversation can go from there. Sometimes the callers or the leads will have, they'll definitely be a little apprehensive about giving their information, but as long as the person answering these calls explains that, well, I need to know where you're located so that we can know that you're inside of our service area, and that usually kind of diffuses the situation. So anyways, all right, what do you guys think is a qualified lead? That was a great answer, Jeremiah. I love it. I love it. Hey, Isaiah, good to see you here. Awesome. Yep, everything's good with my family. We're good. There's just some stuff, normal life stuff. Do you typically charge? Yeah, we got that one. All right. Oh, Fernando. Fernando asks, how many emails does it typically take to land one partner? I try to do, a location in like a batch of 50 emails. But I like to target a whole state at a time and then just kind of take over that state for one vertical. So I mean, one state could be 1,000 emails. But you guys don't need to do that. Put together 40, 50 emails. You'll absolutely get at least one partner. You'll probably get 5 partners out of that easily if you do your follow-ups, follow-up emails, follow-up calls during your prospecting funnel. So awesome. All right. Hey, Jeremiah. Okay, Jeremiah asks, do you pitch prepay? If so, tips. Yeah, I do. Prepay is actually very easy as long as you build in the value to somebody. And if you have the confidence going into it, and then also if you have maybe some previous experience in that area or with another local, like I'm just going to use roofing. I get prepay for roofing all day long. They know their numbers. They know what a lead is worth to them. That's why I love roofers. I really do. So HVAC too. HVAC's awesome. But yeah, I do pitch prepay. It is definitely a harder close. You're going to get a lot more resistance with it, but it is very, very possible, and they turn out to be very good partners. So maybe that's a really good way to weed out the bad partners. But prepay, I usually, say you're going to prepay for 5 leads up front or 10 leads up front. I make it a small number, and I just, explain to them this is, this will cover our expenses because all of our expenses are front-loaded, and setting up a very unique and custom campaign for you in your area catered to your services, your specific services. Maybe they use a certain brand of something, or they do a very specific niche service. So, and it does, it makes sense to them. They know that work goes into this, and it's not just, set and forget, especially if you email and you get a few partners in a few different areas that you weren't really targeting. Let them know, hey, yeah, I'd be more than happy to set up a lead gen machine in your area. I need a deposit of 10 leads before I get started. If you do not, I do kind of structure it how if you do not start receiving leads within 60 days, I'll refund your money. So I kind of put a time frame on it so they know that, after 60 days, I'll give you a refund. I recap that in the follow-up email with the credit card authorization form. But yeah, it's totally, you can get prepay, definitely, as long as you know, position the value enough. And you definitely have to talk to the right companies that know their numbers. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, Jeremiah, you're like a an expert here, so I hope that I'm giving you some new info. I know that we've talked a lot, so awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. So what's best? Pay per qualified lead. We kind of covered this. Pay per booked appointment. Pay per percentage of job under contract. We pretty much beat this horse to death. So just pay for the qualified lead. Please don't just PPL all day long. Don't get sucked into booked appointments. Don't let them bully around for a booked appointment. Don't let them bully you for a percentage of jobs. I've done all of this. And you know what? It's an easy sell. It's a really easy sell to go out, prospect, say, hey, yeah, you just pay for a booked appointment. Or, yeah, just percentage of job. And then you listen to the calls, and you're sick to your stomach because you sent them 20 qualified leads, and they made no effort to close them or turn them into an actual sale. So don't let that happen to you. That's just, I mean, go ahead and try it if you want, but I know how it's going to work out. So stick to the PPL model. All right. Any other questions? You guys got any feedback? Any horror stories? Any great experiences? Great. Too funny. This is a great question. After onboarding, do you drip feed or follow up to encourage utilizing call tracking systems and such? Yeah, I actually started doing that. That's such a good point. It definitely helps build the relationship. It really, really does. So just put them through an automated system. Bring on a partner, set up 10 follow-up emails in Aweber or in whatever email system you're using. Just short and sweet. Have it be like marketing tips for them to help them market their business. It doesn't have to be all about your business, but absolutely, definitely encourage call tracking systems. It blows my mind, Jeremiah, how many companies don't track their phone calls. It is crazy. Like they don't have Google Analytics on their site. They have no idea where their customers are coming from. So, yeah, awesome question. Do you do that? Yeah. Yes, and then they complain. Yeah. Then they complain, what leads did you send me? Exactly. That's why we don't do SEO anymore. No more SEO customers. I've heard that so many times. F SEO. Awesome, Isaiah. I love it. All right, let's get rolling. Important points to cover when prospecting. Okay, so this is included in my follow-up email, which I'll just post in the group for everybody, or maybe include it in the members area. I'm not sure where to put it. I'll ask Brian, but these are points we cover over and over and over again. 100% exclusive call referrals, and I kind of fill out or expand on each point. Again, never compete directly with other companies. So this is a big deal. This is a really, really big point for home service guys, or anybody. Like anybody that's bought leads that have been resold over and over again, or they're bidding on a job against each other, something like that. It's really important. Never underbid to win our leads. It's not a race to the bottom with your leads. So I know that they are going to call around usually and shop around a few companies, but at least you're not the one instigating that or starting that process. So never pay for unqualified calls. So that's a really big one too. Like Home Advisor is terrible about this. Oh, excuse me, let me. Excuse me, sorry guys. Never pay for unqualified calls. So, yeah, Home Advisor is terrible about this. They need a deposit first off, and then they just charge for every shitty lead that they give to these poor contractors. And I've had contractors sit there. They tell me these horror stories. They will sit and wait for the email to come across their phone, and the minute it does, they call the lead. They can never get a hold of them. never. Like, or that person has already been called, 5 different times by other companies, and they are so pissed and they don't want to be contacted. So, so definitely harp on these points over and over again whenever you talk to somebody. So I say no deposit. And I know this goes against what we were just talking about, but when you're just starting out, don't give yourself extra barriers. Like, really, you can go balls to walls, get those deposits if you want. You absolutely can. Excuse me. But this is, I say no deposit. You only pay after we sent you qualified calls. So, and yeah, I just copied this out of my emails, so I kind of have like, no joke. Seriously, a little bit of just funny stuff in there. Makes them laugh. Excuse me, a little personality. And then no contract. That's always a really big selling point as well. No contract. I don't want them to work with me if they're not happy. I don't want them to feel, like they're signing their life away to me for the rest of their days. So, so I hope these make sense. It's not, it's not a mystery. This is what we've, preached over and over again, and you guys know this by heart, I know. So, but this is definitely the points, and this is what I also include in my follow-up emails. Hey, Isaiah, did you hire a VA or someone locally to do your sales once you started scaling? Yes, I did. Upwork and Craigslist. And so I tried out both of those, and I did like Craigslist better. I found some local people that I could work with, and they did a great job. Upwork is good as well. Definitely, it's nice to see the reviews and only choose someone with a high review, but I found that they're so busy that it's hard for them. A lot of the good ones, they're slammed. So you can find really good salespeople on Craigslist. They're looking for a part-time job, a couple hours a week or something like that. Bust out, 100 phone calls. They can do that in like a few days. And this is another thing, I never pay someone for full-time work, ever, because they're going to waste half the day anyways. So I only pay for, 4 hours a day if if that's how they want to do it, 4 hours a day. Max, and then I do give them, a bonus if they bring on a partner. So like $100 bonus if they close someone. And they get the credit card authorization form back. I let them have my template. I set up an email for them. This is after I've interviewed them several times and ran them through like role play stuff and questions and saw how they handled like a difficult customer. So there is definitely some vetting involved, but once you find somebody, it helps so much, helps leverage your time immensely. I hope that helps. Yeah. Jeremiah asked, X amount of calls or appointments they must get a day. So I provide the list for them. I have like my VA, Filipino VAs build the list out with the criteria of what I'm looking for the businesses and stuff. So in the cities and areas and whatever, and then I just give them a list. And 4 hours? I think in 4 hours they can, they should be able to make 100 calls. That's a goal. I know that not every time that happens. But if they have a list right in front of them, it should not be a hard thing just to do 25 calls an hour. But so that's pushing it. I set my expectations really high with my salespeople, and it's rare that they hit 100 calls an hour. They probably hit 60 100 calls in 4 hours. They probably hit maybe 50, 60, so half of that. But I want to let them know that I expect a lot out of them. And sometimes they get on the phone for 45 minutes, an hour with somebody, so there goes a whole hour. But if they do, that's a quality conversation. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, Isaiah, it's proven that people are most productive 2 to 4 hours a day. Ford Motor Company made up the 9. Yeah, exactly. Good to know. I'm about that same. Yeah, awesome. Good questions, guys. You guys are awesome. Any other points that you guys might cover when you're talking to somebody? I know these are the main ones, but just the go-to ones. I don't know if you guys have any other points that you cover, or you really make an effort to point out to a lead, or I mean a prospect. I don't know. I'm sure there's a few other points, but these are definitely the main ones and the main kind of hot buttons that people have. So awesome. All right. So what's the value of your leads? So this one, oh, hey Jeremiah, so good to know. The rebuttal about wanting more information about your company. Yeah, that's going to happen. Coming online. Yeah, I mean, that's why I set up kind of a landing page, just like a one-page landing page for my company. And then it's just kind of explains what PPL is, and I just use lead pages. I have an example of it. I need to check on that, actually. I think my lead pages account credit card expired. So yes, I do have a one-page site about my company that's tailored very much to whatever vertical I'm going after. And I'll share that with the group. I'm more than happy to share it. You can steal it word for word. I don't care. Like, whatever. If you're going to take action and actually get going and, rip some content and do it, go for it. Don't care. So, yeah, I'll share that in the group. You guys PM me, remind me. I'm going to make a note of it. But I think it's a really good question. If they want more information after they go to my site and they read it and they go through it, I mean, that's why I also did a white paper. I don't think anyone ever read it, but it's nice to have kind of a PDF ready, just reiterating the points and how PPL works. Just brand it. When I was prospecting lawyers and plastic surgeons, I think the white paper, it was more familiar to them in their industries, and was definitely, I put like social proof in there and a case study and testimonials and that kind of stuff. But if you're going after more kind of white collar verticals, then yeah, that they always want a little more information, just because PPL might not be as familiar to them. They're more familiar with paying for a flat fee for digital marketing and not really knowing what they're receiving from their marketing budget. So it's a really great question. Awesome. Hey, Isaiah. So Isaiah says, I need to share my landing page with the group. I use the free lawyer landing page for HVAC. Oh, great. That's awesome. Yeah, share it with the group. Why not? Probably, unfortunately, maybe 5% to 10% of people really take action. So don't worry about it getting saturated with the exact same landing page. Sweet, Jeremiah. I knew it. I think we've talked about this. Sweet. Yeah, awesome. I love it. All right, so value of your leads. So, okay, this is just an example, and I don't know if I did the math right. I did that early at like 5 this morning. So I always, please know that when someone charges $8,000 for a roof replacement, they are not keeping all $8,000 of those dollars. They're keeping maybe 30% of it, maybe 35, 40 if they're, I don't know, hiring very cheap labor. But so, I mean, you can charge a very fair price for your leads, but always think about, how many customers turn in, or how many leads turn into a customer. I just say 1 out of 5, that seems to be average. If it's more, like 1 out of 10, maybe your partner has something wrong with their sales team or with their sales approach or system. So, and also look at the leads that you're sending them. Maybe they're not very high quality. So I always want to kind of set out the premise, like, with a new partner, go through their sales funnel, see how things are working, make suggestions even. Most of them are very open to, coaching or suggestions. So, but let's just say 1 out of 5 turns into a customer. At 150, that's 750 for a customer acquisition. So then figure in how much it's going to cost for their labor, material, warranty, and it just depends on the company you're working with, but they should know their numbers and they should be pretty open with them and expect them to exaggerate a little bit on the upside. So that they're why not? You don't know what their real numbers are. Maybe they're going to exaggerate and say, oh, total price of the job, you have about 70% expenses. That's really high, but just go with it. Say, okay, well, whatever. That's really high for this vertical in this area. Are you sure? Like, kind of call them out a little bit. Make sure you know your vertical pretty well, and you talk to a few business owners or friends that are in the same business, or do an interview with a business owner, or someone that is very familiar with that company or that business first, so you know your numbers when you get into a vertical. So let's say I just did some quick math here. So with expenses, it's say 60% high side plus 750. That leaves them what, 1650 profit for $8,000 roof. Now that's on the very, very high side. They should be making more than that on a roof, probably like $2,000 at least on an $8,000 roof. But I don't know if we have any roofers out there on the line. None? All right. Talk to some roofers. They usually know their numbers very well. HVAC too. I know Jeremiah works with HVAC guys, so you guys know your numbers very well. Anyways, so I mean, think about the profit. Think about their profit margin that they have, and don't outprice your leads, because they have to have some meat on the bone to pay for other things and live off of. But then also remind them that the highest cost to them is acquiring a new customer. So yeah, a new customer costs them the most money. Once they have a new customer, they're going to get at least 1 referral, 2 referral, 3 referrals out of it. Like it can grow exponentially, and that's why you have a lot of these contractors living on only referrals from their previous jobs, which is crazy to me. Like, that's how strong referrals are in the home service industry. So they get 1 new customer from you, remind them, if most of their clients are referral business, remind them, how much they can gain and how many new customers they can gain just from getting one new customer. So always have that in your back pocket and explain to them that. So and remind them of that. That most expensive part is getting that new customer, and then after that, it's all gravy. It's all money in the bank. So. Anyways, so is 150 per lead the right price? It depends. Are you working with partners that know their numbers? So if they know their numbers, that's a pretty good price for them. Pretty good price for a new customer. If they don't know their numbers, then they're going to think that that's incredibly crazy. And even if they do know their numbers, they're going to push back on you. But it's really, I mean, for a roof replacement. And 8,000's on the low side as well. Like you get into higher income neighborhoods, or where there's larger houses. Some of the roofs are maybe, I don't know how many square feet. Like 3,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet. I can't remember what is large for a roof, but those prices double, triple for roof replacement. So 150 per lead is not that much at all. Then you have commercial roofing, which is a whole different ballgame. But yeah, Jeremiah, you're gonna like this next, or Isaiah, you're gonna like this next slide. I stole it from, I think Chua posted it in the group, and so I just loved it. So I wanted to put it in here, just to reiterate my awful math and my slide that is just kind of a little discombobulated. But yeah, anyways, check it out. This was the HVAC one that Chua posted, and for anyone that's anyone that is watching this replay, I just wanted to put this in there if they haven't seen it in the group. It is such a great depiction of lifetime value of a new customer. So, Isaiah, I have it on my background. I have it on my desktop. Awesome. Yeah, Jeremiah, in their insurance jobs, which is easier for the roofer to sell. Yeah, any like hail damage, wind damage jobs, water damage, anything like that. Anything that insurance covers, there's a lot less shopping around for that. So, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Awesome. All right, you guys, red, you see, so per household 2, profit 6 grand, replacement time, and I like this one because it gives you like the actual time span, and then the services that are involved in that time span, and the lifetime of the clients. So, anyways, it's a great slide, and I'm gonna bump Chua's. All the credit goes to him, all of it. So, shout out to Chua. Even though he's not on right now, he's going to watch the replay. I know he is. So, anyways, I'll bump his post up again so everyone can see it in the group. All right. Last but not least, let's get rid of the fear. So who has been afraid to make a call or answer the phone of an incoming call or make a follow-up call or even cold calling? It takes practice, guys. It really does. Like, I know that most of us, if you're not afraid to pick up the phone and, you know, your heart doesn't get a little bit faster when you're making those calls, at least in the beginning, or if you've had a few beers, but I mean, then you're amazing. Why aren't you doing this all the time? I want to hire you. But yeah, so, I mean, a few things to get rid of the fear. You know, act like you've been doing this forever. Like, you have to build your confidence up somehow. And sometimes just acting like you've got this and you've done this, act as if, you know, you're badass and you've been doing this forever. Build your confidence up. Yeah. Yeah, Isaiah. I had to lie to myself to tell myself I was excited instead of nervous. I almost put that on the slide. So, and that's a Tony Robbins thing, right? Like, excitement and fear is the same feeling, or nervousness or anxiety is the same feeling in your body, and it just depends what you call it. So, totally, I love it. I've totally done the same thing. The other thing was give yourself permission to, you know, not be perfect or don't get hung up on perfection. So, like, give yourself permission to fail and suck and say the wrong thing and not be perfect and, you know, totally screw up. Like, I like to treat it almost as a test or performance. Make it fun. Like, you know, make it a challenge to yourself. Don't put all the pressure on yourself. Like, really, we put way too much pressure on ourselves as it is. I mean, this should be fun, and the people on the other line can hear it in your voice if you're so stressed out and have so much anxiety and, you know, so much pressure on yourself, and it pushes them away instead of pulls them towards you. So, you know, you don't want to push people away. You want to draw them in, be authentic when you're talking to them. Treat it, you know, I like to act as if you're badass, totally. Isaiah, I did have a shot of whiskey. Don't rely on it, but it helped to start. Cheers, brother. Love it, love it. Maybe one, maybe not two. Or maybe two. I don't know. Up to you. How much fun do you want to have? But anyways, don't get hung up on it. Treat it like a test, performance. Make it fun. Give yourself permission to be imperfect and to mess it up. So anyways, practice. And that's the elbow grease and the hard work that comes into it. Like, have a goal maybe for a week, 20 cold calls a day. And so, mind you, you do not need to make cold calls to do this. You'll be making follow-up calls or answering incoming calls. But if you get cold calling down, why not? Like, that's, you know, what is it? Seth Godin says, eat the frog in the morning, or who says eat the frog in the morning? I can't remember. Eat the toad in the morning, something like that. Anyways, get the cold calling out of the way, get it down, remove your fear that way. Just practice in different cities that you're not targeting so you don't cold call people when you're starting out that you plan on targeting in the future, or, you know, maybe do it. I don't know. I would just choose other cities. Just recommend that. Or role play. Do some role playing with a friend or a mentor or something like that. You know, do role playing with a business owner that gets harassed constantly by salespeople, and they'd be a great role playing friend. So they definitely help you out. And then also, you know, educate yourself. I read a ton. I watch tons of videos. One of my favorite books that helps helped me remove the fear was Steal the Show by Michael Port. I don't know if you guys have heard of him or read his books or watched any of his videos on YouTube. He's awesome, so highly recommend him. Who else? Jeffrey Gitomer. He has great sales education books, great videos. Yeah, just screw it. Screw it, just do it by Richard Branson. I totally messed that up. Okay, awesome. And Jay Summit. Isaiah likes to read. Post these. I love this. Post these books in the group. Always looking for, all the time. Awesome. I'm always looking for new books. Thank you. That would be awesome. Very good. Yeah, I'll post some of mine in there that I really like. And then also some videos that, like the Michael Port YouTube channel. Like, he's awesome. And Jeffrey Gitomer. Both of them. Love both of them. There's so many. And then last but not least, don't read a script. I already said this once. Just have your bullet points ready, or know your bullet points. You guys know it. Don't read a script. Then if you start reading a script, then you feel like you have to be perfect, and and if you get a word wrong, or you just read it too fast, you have no emotion in your voice, just be yourself. Just have a conversation with the person. So Brian is like Steph Curry on the phone. It totally is. That's hilarious. You need to post like a meme or something, Isaiah. I love it. Hilarious. So do you guys do anything to help get rid of fear, or besides taking a shot of whiskey, which I totally agree with, but anything that you guys do that helps, move you forward, say something is stopping you from taking action? Is there anything that you guys do to help yourself get past that point? Nice. All right. You guys go quiet when I ask something. Awesome. There you go. Oh, that's a big paragraph. All right. I used your advice and wrote down the things I hated in my life, not being able to my parents, and read it every day. Awesome, Isaiah. I love it. Love it. Yeah, don't pitch the good leads first. Yep. Always do warm-up ones. For sure. Plus, Isaiah started meditating with Headspace. Isn't Headspace cool? I love it. It is very, very cool. I need to use my app more often. Definitely, but I love it. What space? It's called Headspace. Maybe Isaiah could post about it in the group, or I'll post about it. It's just an app on your phone that helps you, kind of does some meditation, or teaches you meditation. So it's really cool, and I love the guy's voice. His voice is amazing. All right. You guys have been awesome tonight. I cannot believe we're hour 15 in, hour 20 in. You guys have any other questions or anything that came up that thought I didn't cover? Any conversations? We can always bring the conversation back to the Facebook group. I love that group. You guys have been so active and motivating and just inspiring in there. So, any other questions? I'll give a few minutes, and then I think we're gonna shut it down. I'm ready for some dinner. I don't know about you guys. Oh, sales questions. Awesome. Thanks, Jeremiah. We need to catch up. I haven't talked to you in a long time. I'd love to know how you're doing. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, you have been fantastic. Yeah, message me. Sweet. Hey, Fernando. Are you putting the recorded calls in the members area? Yes, they'll be in the members area. I'm hoping to get them in either this weekend or Monday. We'll see how busy Brian is to help me do that, because I am technically illiterate sometimes. So, all right. Thank you, guys. I hope everyone has an awesome night, and I so appreciate you being here. But hit me up in the group if you need anything or have any questions. All right. Have a great night. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.